What's up, Shaq?
It's the word. I do agree with the point about materialism. I think on two sides. One, if you look at it like with physics, you know, there is the standard model. It describes all of matter and everything that exists.
Oh, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Whoa. So if you're an empirical criticist, you believe that knowledge comes from sense data, correct?
Not necessarily. No.
I mean, I have Lenin's treatise in front of me, Materialism and Imperial Criticism. He says knowledge comes from sense data. I mean, the end of the chapter calls it the gospel.
Mhm.
Sense data is the gospel.
I mean, you could say that for human beings, but I wouldn't. I don't know, because at this, like, if you look at,
Could you know what a universal claim is?
refresh my memory.
Okay, so you guys want to come and debate metaphysics, universal claims, and epistemology. You're not aware of basic ideas in epistemology, basic philosophical terms and positions. You said all reality is material. That's a universal claim. I just asked you if all knowledge comes from sense data, which is what your position holds to. So I want to know how you have access to a universal claim and universal states of affairs as a finite sense data-based being.
I wouldn't say that all knowledge comes from sense data, because I mean there is fucking tons of science that is not from. But I mean, okay.
So your argument is there's tons of fucking science.
No. My point is that, like, for example, quantum physics, our understanding of that does not come from sense data. However, just like that, and with like
So hold on. So you're not a materialist, or you think that quantum physics teaches materialism?
quantum physics is materialism.
Well, it's not necessarily, because in quantum
is.
physics,
There's nothing.
No,
in
it's not.
physics.
It's not. There's the idea that there's all the possibility of all universes are actual. So there's universes where not everything is material that are also actual. Correct?
Because even though
yes, that is part of multiverse quantum physics theory. Yes, it is. What are you talking about?
So
does Brian Greene has a whole book on that? What are you talking about?
That's not true, though. Even in those other universes.
Well, how do you know it's not? Wait a minute, it's not true.
I mean, what I'm saying is what you're saying is not true. Even in those other universes, it's still material. It's just that in our.
How do you know that?
Could I explain?
Well, hold on. No, wait a minute. You said so hold on. You're talking about other universes that are also strictly material. Oh my gosh, dude. This is utterly
please
retarded.
just let me finish my sentence.
No, we're done. Goodbye, dude. Goodbye. Let's hear the next clown. Next up is Commander. What's up? These people have never questioned materialism and don't know anything about philosophy. Remember, knowledge is feeding people, and feeding people is knowledge. And we got another one of these cult members in here. When this thing connects, we'll go to FDA. And imagine appealing to quantum physics to prove materialism.
Hey, can I add something real quick?
Please do.
That was a great point, by the way. But so,
which
about the multiverse, right? So if we're going to take quantum mechanics, right? So, I've done a lot of work in my PhD and other places on the philosophy of mind and these modal arguments, possible worlds, which connects to the quantum conversations, develops. Now, materialism is a position that isn't just in this world. Materialism's true, but it holds a modal strength across all possible worlds.
Right.
So,
and you have a paper on this, right? Don't you have a paper?
And so in philosophy and logic, if I can conceive of a world in which, for example, I'll just give you one off the top of my head. There's two entities that are identical in every sense, physically. one has consciousness and the other doesn't, or has some immaterial properties. The fact that I can conceive that and think of that without contradicting myself shows that it's logically possible. If it's logically possible, there's a possible world in which that's actually true, and therefore materialism's defeated, because materialism is a position that it's not just happens to be true in our world, but in every possible world. So I really like what you did with that argument right there, is to actually bring up, if they're wedded to quantum mechanics and possible worlds, then it's a defeater for materialism itself, because I can logically conceive of a world in which materialism's not true and I didn't contradict myself, so materialism's false. That's basically how it goes.
Right.
So very good. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. So one of these, they're spurging out. Juke, what's up? Yeah, I get it. You can punch the emoji really fast. Good job, dude. On mute.
Why'd you run away from Hawes like a little bitch?
I didn't run away. Didn't make an argument. He said the third stuff.
Yeah, you fucking did. Yeah, you fucking did. He made
so
an
why
argument
and why am I supposed to? Why am I supposed to believe materialism is true?
Why are you running away from him like a little bitch? Can you answer me that?
Okay, right. So this is all you guys have, exactly.
Yeah, it's not running away. If you don't present an argument,
it wasn't a debate.
I mean, if you come in with insults and profanity,
he wasn't even able to make an argument. It was just like, reality is feeding people. Feeding people is reality. And if you think that's an argument, then there's nothing else I can say to you. Harold, he wants to make this point. What's up, Harold? Why are we supposed to be materialists? So you guys, you understand, they don't make arguments. They just assert things. I mean, it was T-jump level. What's up, Harold? Why are we supposed to be materialists?
Jay Dyer, why are you such a pussy? Why don't you debate Haas? You just proved everyone you're a giant
this
pussy.
Is all you've got.
You just proved everyone you're a giant pussy and a faggot.
This is So all of this is proving my point, so that there's no actual arguments. He didn't give arguments. He had all the time in the world to make arguments as to why we're supposed to believe in materialism, and he said absolute gibberish.
And you know what? Only fools engage in that kind of level anyway. So you were right to actually, if somebody wasn't presenting an argument and that's what was the invitation, and somebody comes in bringing assertions and profanities and insults, then actually you're the better man for not engaging in it.
Yeah, I didn't think there was going to be a real debate to begin with. And so within 5 minutes, I heard the most ridiculous bunch of gibberish that is literally it's worse than what T-Jump said. So if you're not familiar with T-Jump, I mean, it's exactly the stuff T-Jump says. Reality is reality. Knowledge is feeding people.
How about we ask this question? How come you cowered away from manning up and presenting an argument? How you resorted to child?
Yeah, he acts like a psycho without any actual arguments, but
childlike and female hysterics.
So let's see another. So this is all that this crew does. They're all just super low IQ. What's up, AXX?
First off, why do you have this guy in here sucking you off? But second off, I was just gonna.
So here we go.
Okay. Basically.
Yeah. So again, look how these people speak to deacons in the church. Just complete goblins. These people are possessed. Right wing Marx. What's up? Does anybody have an actual argument or just filthy nonsense?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think you're a Redditor, but I want to understand your position better.
I'm a Redditor, and how do you come to that? What does that mean?
Like, you're just debating like this psychopath on the internet.
I'm debating like a psychopath.
No. You're debating a psychopath on the internet.
Oh, okay. But I'm a Redditor.
I mean, yeah, it's a Reddit trait.
To debate on the internet. So all traits that are shared. Everybody has the same traits because everybody's a Redditor because they're on the internet.
I didn't say that.
Do you have any arguments, or are you just here to talk? No, you're the actual Redditor here. You don't have any arguments.
Well, I asked you. I said I wanted to understand your argument better.
All right, we're moving on to anybody that has an actual argument or any reason why we should believe any of the gibberish that's been spouted tonight. Maximus, something. Unmute. Yeah, it took about 5 minutes to show that was utter philosophical gibberish and nonsense. So, are you going to unmute, or are we going to move on? Barnwell.
Yeah. Jay, let me ask you a question real quick.
What?
Have you ever dived into the late Engels' later essays on Marx and materialism?
No, I don't know that I've read late Engels.
Well, if you did, you would know that.
Yeah, this is really solid stuff. I think that MAGA communism is really winning the day. I think everybody's really going to be convinced. I mean, what can we say against this kind of stuff, right? Giggling, blaspheming against God. I mean, this is just really solid argumentation. I think they're winning the day here.
So, by the way, I've read some of the late Engels on.
He was just joking.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Go ahead. Ken, do you have a point, Ken? All right, nothing from Ken. Still waiting for any kind of actual argument as to why we should believe in materialism. Sabatai. Unmute. Sabatai.
Oh, sorry. Yo, what's up?
What do you want to say? You've been asking to speak.
Yeah. So I just wanted to hear you speak on the Sabbatean Frankist movement. I heard you speak earlier, and I agree with you that.
Okay, nothing to do with what we're talking about. Absolutely way out of left field. I'm not being mean to you, but obviously the topic is listed: materialism, Marxism. Why are we supposed to believe in materialism? Dr. Ao, another one.
Hello?
Yep.
Hi, so I want to actually give more of a serious argument.
Okay.
So I don't actually want to touch on specifically the topic of materialism, but I do think that by insisting on a conversation about philosophy and metaphysics and avoiding a conversation about history, which is what happened
I did
earlier.
that talk 4 hours earlier. We had a 4-hour talk on that earlier today.
Well, I think you're moving the subject of the debate to a context where it's very easy to call anything jibber jabber or gibberish or meaningless or contentless because you're talking about very abstract.
Did he give an argument for why materialism is true?
I unfortunately missed. I thought the space was starting at 8:30.
Okay. Well, you tell me what the argument is for materialism being true.
For materialism being true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that. I mean, that's just about your. I think it's more of a statement of your commitments. Like, what are you most interested in? What you want to focus on. I don't think it's actually.
Well, the argument is materialism as a worldview, which he believes in and which I don't believe in. And so I want to know why we're supposed to be materialists. He said he was going to argue that. And he said, because it's just true and metaphysics is false. And I'm not making metaphysical statements when I believe in absolute materialism, which is a metaphysical statement.
I disagree that materialism in the context of Marxism is making a metaphysical statement. I think it's more...
Okay, so is it a statement about what exists?
It's a statement about what is going to be brought to the fore, what we're going to focus on, right?
So materialism is not a statement about what exists in the world.
That's philosophical materialism. Yes, that's a statement that...
Correct,
that in
right. That's what I was debating.
Well, I think that's not the correct debate to have when we're talking about Marxism.
That's the debate I'm having. So you can go have the correct debate with whoever you think is supposed to be had with. Are you a materialist? And if so, why is it true?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that's really relevant to Marxism.
Okay, yeah. So it's not relevant to the debate about materialism. Exactly.
Wait,
this is just this is unbelievable nonsense. So I'm here to have a debate about materialism. That's the position that I take issue with Jackson Hinkle and this whole crew of MAGA communism. And nobody wants to have that debate. They just want me to say that just grant me my presuppositions, and then we'll argue from there. Well, no, that's not how debates work. Pravda, what's up? Why is materialism true? Unmute.
Like I was saying, physics is the underpinnings of materialism. Quantum field theory, the most scientific and most accurate.
Okay, bro, you don't know you have no idea what you're talking about. Doug Spanky, what's up? Quantum physics, the most ridiculous speculative thing to try to prove materialism. Okay, so what's the argument on materialism?
Pussy, you're a bitch, dude.
There we go. So the materialists are really pulling out the big guns tonight. I'm almost convinced. I mean, after that stellar showing, I mean, I think we got to become. I'm about to pull out my red shirt over here. I'm about to put on my Soviet star here. I mean, this is some hardcore argumentation. Inward, what's up? And it's amazing that they don't even know what an argument is. Like, nobody actually gave an argument. They think that stating your position over and over and over and asserting it is what an argument is. An argument is evidence or a syllogism or some sort of reasoning that we ought to believe your position. Why is materialism true? We had about 5 minutes of spurging out nonsense from the original Haas, no actual argument. And so far, none of that crew doesn't even apparently know what an argument is. That's pretty amazing to me, because I thought we were going to have a philosophical discussion, but all I've heard is how I'm scared. I mean, this is like, I hope everyone sees that this is a complete clown show like this. And I suspected months ago when I heard about this that this was utter nonsense. And I can't believe anybody that falls for this sort of astroturfed online thing as if it's a real thing. Beepy boop, what's up? It's a really great showing too for these people to have presented absolutely no argument and just basically screamed and cussed at me the whole time. I think this is going to really demonstrate how absurd all this is. Do you want to make your argument?
Hi, why wouldn't you believe in materialism when it comes to economics? Instead of, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and it's your values that will drive you to success. When people feel that they're being sabotaged by corporations, and that's when the whole materialism thing comes in.
What does this have to do with materialism as a philosophical view?
Because you put materialism and Marxism in the same thing in your debate. That's where Marxism comes in with materialism. Because a lot of right-wing propagandists will say, oh, it's the values of the nation that will drive our prosperity. And you...
again, is materialism true or not? That's the debate.
Yes, when it comes to economic stuff, yes.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about metaphysical materialism. That's what Marxism is predicated on. Is that true?
No, it's predicated on the structural issues that cause economic failures.
I'm talking. That's not what Lenin's book "Materialism and Empirical Criticism" is about. It's about metaphysical materialism, chapter 4.
That's just one incredibly small part of it. It's only relevant here because every time that...
Is materialism as a philosophy true? The metaphysics.
Yes.
Okay, and on what basis are we supposed to believe and know that that's the case?
Okay, you are trying to force people to have like a...
Are you going to make an argument? Do you know what an argument is?
Yes. Are you trying to
Okay, what's an
reframe it
argument?
in a way that makes it seem like binary, that if you believe in materialism, then you don't
What
believe
is
in
the
the
argument that
opposite of it?
materialism? What is? No, I never said that. I want to know one argument for why we should believe that materialism is true. Can you give one? Maybe you're right. Maybe it is true. What's the argument that is true?
Materialism basically says that you create your ideas and your values based on the environment that you're...
Okay, so define it for me and not give me an argument. Exactly. That's not defining the position is not telling me why the position is true. Discriminator, what's up?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
All right. I don't know how this came about exactly. All I wanted to say is that the whole basis of Marxism as an ideology to begin with is completely divorced from the concept of it's a worldview unto itself. There is no purpose of it without assuming materialism as the basis of reality.
Sure. Yeah,
So,
I think so. Right. So why are we supposed to believe in materialism?
oh, I don't. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't know the backstory. I don't know how you got to the point where you...
Yeah, I don't even think this is controversial. I mean, are there any Marxists that are not materialists? I mean, I suppose I'm sure that you could find one somewhere, but I mean, I don't even think this is controversial. I'm looking at chapter 4 of Lenin's Materialism and Imperial Criticism book, and I want to know why it's true. He's citing a bunch of atheist philosophers and ancient Greek philosophers about flux and materialism. So, okay, why am I supposed to believe that that's true? What are the reasons for materialism being true?
I mean, I don't believe in materialism. I'm not a Marxist. I don't know exactly how this debate came to be. The only point I wanted to make is that I was curious what what Haas would have to say, to be honest. So I just
yeah. Well, you can go back to about the first 5 minutes, and he said materialism is true because metaphysics doesn't exist and is false, even though to say that all reality is material is a metaphysical claim. And then he said that minds exist, but minds are not existing is not a metaphysical claim, because he said that the mind is a faculty, although a faculty is some kind of metaphysical modality in which the mind exists. When you talk about modes of things, that's a metaphysical claim. And then he said that knowledge is feeding people, and feeding people is knowledge. So that's about the level of depth that we got from this person.
Yeah, no, it's about what I expected. So
yeah, exactly.
All of the riffraff.
Do we have any more? Rachel, want to say something? Where are the people that can argue this position? Does anybody have an actual argument for this position, or is it just screaming and yelling and foaming at the mouth and acting possessed? Rachel? Rachel, are you there? Father Deacon, did you want to say anything?
No, it's just amazing. What if we paid people to give us like arguments?
Can you guys?
Rachel,
yeah, can you guys hear me now? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm hoping that one of these idiots will come on and explain to us if y'all are a bunch of materialists, which I know that's what they claim because it's their tactic of how they're going to, try to manipulate politics and economics. But if they're really materialists, I'd like to know why. They've been preserving Vladimir Lenin's body for over 100 years so that they can hopefully resurrect him someday and he can come back as a god and restore the glorious Bolshevik Soviet states. Like, if you're materialists, why would you do that? Have you guys ever looked into the preservation of Lenin's body and the insane stuff they are trying to do to preserve his corpse so that they can hopefully reanimate him?
Yeah, it's a religious cult. They're in a religious cult. Exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, this whole front of saying they're materialist, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's the big... You can see, they come in here and they just spur because they don't know. They just know that as a dialectical tactic, saying they're materialists is like advantageous to their economic aims, but clearly they're full of shit. So I want to hear from them. If you're a materialist, I want to know why you're preserving Lenin's body so that you can reanimate him, because that's creepy. That's
I'm on right now. Rev, go ahead. Kingdom.
So I take your position more so than theirs, but I just have something to say that I think is interesting. I totally missed the debate. I got home late and was reading my Bible.
It was about 5 minutes of him cussing me out and saying that materialism is true because it's true, and that knowledge is feeding people and feeding people's knowledge, and that's what proves materialism, which is not an argument at all. It's T-jump level stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. So what I heard from, I hopped in your space after it ended, and then I hopped in his just to hear what you guys were talking about in terms of like damage control and stuff like that. It was funny because he essentially was advocating for the position that materialism contains within it the aspect of the immaterial, and so pretty much what you're talking about is being confirmed by his trying to do damage control, in him being a part of some sort of cult or something like that. He's essentially saying that he believes in the immaterial, and that materialism can contain that within it, and so that can mean nothing other than some sort of religious cult, and whether he wants to admit it or not, that's the case. I think at this point I feel bad for him because he's got all of these people that pay his bills. He wants to keep that, and yeah, I'm just going to continue praying for him at this point. But that's really all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Just Michael, man.
Yo, what's up? So what was the? I don't understand. What is this whole argument about?
Yeah, so is materialism true? That's what Marxism is based on, and we want to hear the arguments.
Yeah, why is subjectivity regarded as the privileged site of like consciousness or of like ontology? Why do you think that is? Because that's not what materialism is. That's what I'm arguing against.
Well, I'm arguing against what I thought was his position in terms of Leninism that Lenin outlines in chapter 4 of materialism and empirical criticism.
Well, I'm talking about like materialism as a metaphysical concept. Like,
right, yeah.
I'm not talking about Lenin.
Well, but the original debate that the guy that was in here was arguing the Leninist position. So that's what I'm concerned with, is that why are we supposed to believe that is true?
Believe what? What did Lenin say? What's the quote?
Just that basic chapter 4 is about there is objective truth. It's not pure subjectivity, but that objective truth is just objective matter and sensation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, but why is that true? How are we supposed to know that's true?
I think you're getting it misconstrued with this kind of vulgar materialism that it's like something I can.
No, I'm reading chapter 4.
Yeah, I'm explaining what I'm saying. I'm saying, I think you take that quote and you're saying, okay, what is it out there? I can't feel it. I can't touch it. But it's like, it's the.
No, I want to know the argument for why materialism is true.
Because the subject is not the privileged site of ontology of being. So subjectivity is not the.
How does that prove materialism?
Because that means the world acts upon us. It means the world is real. It means the world is material.
How does it prove that?
Because you are being acted upon. When you are born into the world, you are a finite being. You are a finite being.
How does that answer something like Sellers' myth of the given?
Explain that.
Well, wait a minute. You're the philosopher here, so you don't.
I didn't say I was a philosopher. When did I say that?
No, you're the philosopher here explaining materialism to us. So surely you would be familiar with the major objections to materialism.
What is that objection? Like, lay it out. If you're the smart guy, condense it. Say it to me.
Well, but I'm not the materialist. I thought you. So you don't know the major objections to your position?
Well, offer one forward. You're not giving me. You're not presenting your case. Like, I've made mine.
Well, the myth of the given is the idea that the external data that comes in, that there's a correspondence or that there's a givenness or a pattern that exists, that the information that comes in matches up to the ideas in your head.
Yeah, but that necessarily can't be true. Like, an unconscious person can still be given information and they're not able to disclose that information in their head.
Okay,
like someone who doesn't have, like someone who hasn't learned language.
The argument.
Someone who doesn't, someone who hasn't learned the language.
You're not even understanding the argument.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Okay, what am I not understanding about it?
It's an argument against materialism, because materialism operates on the assumption of the myth of the given, that the data that comes in is meaningful.
Yeah, it's just Kantian jibber jabber. I know. Yeah, I know what that means, but I'm saying
not Kantian.
It literally
Kantian.
is. It's like
no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Sellers is an empiricist. He's not a Kantian.
And what do you? Kant literally used a lot of Hume when he was making his arguments.
Yeah,
Kant didn't fully reject
Hume. I make transcendental arguments. I know. I'm a fan.
Okay. So my point is being that, and it can be interpreted as the Kantian negation of what is being said. I understand that your mind plays tricks on you. I understand what you're saying.
Well, that's part of it, but the argument is that there's an assumed correspondence between the idea that's produced from the sensations and the meaningful content in the external world. And how do you know that that's the case?
Because of vibes, man. This is what I'm talking about. You can't rationalize.
Because of vibes.
This is like what it needs to be.
Vibes. Because
I'm
of
just
vibes.
going to jump into and just say that I don't know if you have some type of, if you're responding to some type of phenomenalism or something like that, but the fact of the matter is what you're saying about the subjectivity of consciousness certainly doesn't prove materialism, because you have all of Greek antiquity and Aristotelian philosophy that believes in immaterial entities, and real essentialism is being immaterial properties and substances.
Yeah, but because of vibes. Did you not hear the conclusion? The concluding argument was because of vibes, man.
I mean, are these people that just just look at a few philosophy pages online?
Yes, all of these people have looked at like 1 or 2 YouTube videos, and they read a little bit of Lenin, and they think they're philosophers. Correct. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just kind of wanted to go off what some of you guys were saying. Which is my understanding of what he kind of believes is that it's just sort of this Hegelian monism, and they think that there's some kind of form or content to reality, but we can't really know what it is.
Okay, so what's the justification?
Oh yeah, no, there isn't. I agree with you. There isn't.
Exactly, and that's what we've been asking for this whole time. That the position is predicated on all these assertions and dogmas that are supposed to be anti-metaphysical, but are all completely metaphysical.
Well, also, yeah.
And the justification was knowledge is feeding people, and feeding people is knowledge. That's a T-jump level.
Well, also, if everything is just purely induction, how are you not an empiricist, right? They'll just say,
or how do you ever get to that? That's
how you get to any universal.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. You're making a universal claim about materialism, right? But induction never even gets you to knowledge, not even a particular.
What they'll say is that whatever, if there's some objective content or quality to it, but the problem is that they don't believe in forms, right? So they don't, because they think that is idealism or whatever. So the medieval realists and the ancient realists, they thought there was some kind of form that was impressed on your mind. But they don't
we know.
But they don't believe that. So
and you bring up a good point, because as materialists, they're going to have to subscribe to inductivism.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is inductivism is viciously circular. So if I said that, well, how do I know that inductivism works? Because it's worked in the past. Do you see?
Well, actually, this chapter 4 is where Lenin is responding to Hume's objections, and he responds to Ernst Mach and some other people that had these really kind of naive views. And his response is to basically quote Feuerbach. I'll read what Lenin says here. He says, "How banal," wrote Feuerbach, "to deny that sensation is the gospel. It is the objective savior. A strange but a preposterous term, but perfectly clear in philosophy. Sensation reveals the objective truth. In other words, pure sensation is truth." Okay, yeah, not answering any of the actual objections and just restating the position. So this is what
the position.
Yeah, these people think this is the height of philosophy. Is Lenin just quoting Feuerbach that sensation is the gospel? It's just sense data, bro.
Yeah,
just
but
pure
it's
sense
more
data.
than that, right? Because they believe that there's some kind of somehow like objects or something, right? They're making progress in knowledge.
No, I understand that they'll violate that by then tacking on all of these things like meaning and form and faculty and mind and knowledge, which is what he did in the first 5 minutes, attributing reality to all these concepts, and then not understanding that that's completely negated by the idea that materialism, that everything's reducible to materialism.
So before I leave, I'm just going to head out tonight. But if I re-summarized, well, what are the arguments against materialism? One is it's the denial of metaphysics, but then they use metaphysics to actually make that all their positions. Number two, that they're reduced to an inductivism through their empiricism, in which case is viciously circular. And furthermore, inductivism never actually even gets you to any universal claims of which you're making. Number three, we would say that, well, my argument from universals concerning proving the immateriality of the mind using all valid deductive syllogisms that are all basically based on the first syllogism, and therefore you can't deny the rest without denying the first, but the first is so uncontroversial you can't deny it, refutes materialism. So
what would you say also to the myth of the given objection to that one guy?
And the myth of the given too is that, so he's trying to basically make a subjective statement about objectivity. Well, let me put it this way. My PhD, who actually did on Wilfred Sellers, my PhD advisor, Jim O'Shea, said he's trying to take a God's eye perspective and reach objectivity while still being immersed in the subjective framework of linguistics and semantics and all these things that theory contaminate everything that you're saying. So he's trying to do two things at once that are contradictory.
Well,
so,
yeah, if I could say like two things on that is also they say everything is contingent, which is kind of like self-contradictory. First,
yeah. So is the proposition everything is contingent?
Yeah, one because it's a metaphysical scheme of the world, and the other is because then they say, oh no, but there is this meaning that we kind of discover through dialectical materialism and the revolutionary process.
Yeah, it's a religion. It's a mystical religion of matter in motion, giving you enlightenment.
That's a great point.
And then, so the way that, like you could say something like, so if I have a smell, like I begin to smell something and it smells like cheese, and I think it's the cheddar cheese it's the mozzarella cheese of the pizza. The fact that I've had a sensation does not immediately translate into the information that it's quote cheese pizza that corresponds to that smell. So in other words, the sensation as a meaningful, informed, informational content experience are two different things. Now, maybe it is giving you the content of cheese pizza through the sensation, but raw sensations do not themselves give you the meaningful content of cheese pizza. You see, that's the objection here.
Yeah, but then you need form, and they're going to say like, "Oh no, that doesn't exist."
Well, that's metaphysics.
So. Or it only exists at the end of history, basically, right? That's when everything stops being.
Well, that's an even more ridiculous non-empirical claim.
And you know what?
Eschatology.
Just
It's all eschatology.
Philosophy of science or epistemology 101 class would refute any of this stuff. I mean, this is all pretty.
That's what I'm saying.
Basic.
Like, if you learn basic philosophy of science, you would learn some of these problems and challenges, and none of these people was even aware of. If you go to the Stefan Molyneux debate that I did on YouTube, you'll notice that I listed in the debate and in the pinned comment, Stefan had never encountered the basic challenges to his materialist paradigm, and so he doesn't deal with the myth of the given. He doesn't deal with the problem of the external world, the problem of induction, the status of immaterial objects, universals, numbers, etc., that there's no properly basic beliefs. And then I also brought in the underdetermination of data, all of which are classic problems for any form of empiricism that we'll have to deal with. And none of the people tonight were even familiar with even one of the basics.
No, and I'll end with this and I'll let you guys go because I gotta go to bed. But number 5 point against refuting materialism is the irreducibility of consciousness arguments. We already gave one from the logical conceivability of zombies, but any of those logical conceivability possible worlds arguments are great refutations of materialism. So if anybody's out there that wants to know, those are five hardcore arguments that refute materialism, that none of these people have never even heard of this, because they've never even taken like an intro class on philosophy, science, or epistemology, maybe not even philosophy, which is amazing. But with that, I bid you guys farewell. Blessed evening, and thanks for having the invitation to have
thanks for
people on
joining
debate.
us, and thank you for your comments.